Hey, Awesomes, how's it going? I just thought I would get a video to you for week 8. If you've already taken a look at week 8, then you kind of have a pretty good idea of you got a reading quiz and one blog post, and then the rest of the time I want you working on your, we have the opportunity to work on the 2-component report and start getting the research done for that, etc. And in the process right now providing feedback on your project plan memos. Make sure that you're all heading in the right direction. I hope to have those completed by tonight at the latest in the morning. And once I'm done with those, then I will get completely caught up Tuesday and Wednesday on the remainder of your grading. So if you've resubmitted a resume cover letter or your WikiHow instruction set or your user test memo or stuff like that that you're waiting on me to grade, I promise to have those done this week. So I have everybody all caught up here for, this isn't quote-unquote midterm, but we're halfway through our semester anyway, so or over halfway. All right, so I figured let's look at what's going on this week, and then I'm going to give you some things to think about on the quiz. All right. So I'll go down here. All right, so you got read Markel and read Capretti, and take reading quiz by Wednesday, and then Friday we have a blog post, midterm self-review. Sunday, nothing due. All right, keep working on your 2-component report. All right, so let's move down here. Here's where you'll find the Markel reading right there, and then Capretti is right here. It's a link to Capretti is I believe it's a website. Yes, a website, and then Markel is your PDF. So we got a PDF chapter of that. So, and then of course the reading quiz, and then I'll talk more about this midterm self-review later on in the week. But since the first things first, let's go through. So we're talking about the reading quiz. So I'll pop back up here in the middle. Where am I? Four-ish. Yeah, 4 questions this week. So when you're reading Capretti, you might want to take note of what goes in a method section, what makes it complete. There's a question on there about completeness. So understand that part. And then also in Capretti, talks about when you write an abstract for this 2-component report. He says something very specific about whether or not you should refer to figures within the 2-component report itself. So you might want to make note of that. And then when you're reading Markel, he has something very specific to talk about unbiased language versus biased language. So you might want to pay attention to that. And then finally, in Markel, you might want to think about, he talks a lot about secondary sources versus primary sources. So it'd probably be a good idea to have an understanding of the difference between those two. Based on what I've read so far, the project plans, I think everyone has a really good idea actually of the difference between those. So that shouldn't be too challenging or difficult. So, all right, short video this week. Not much except work on the 2-component reports. I know that you all are probably anxiously awaiting any feedback from me concerning your project plans, and I have. I think I've got 5 or 6 done, so I think I've got about 10 to 15 or so to go. So taking my time with these to provide as much feedback. Try to, as much as I possibly can on this, give you one comment concerning any formatting issues, and be thinking about those comments and looking forward to your 2-component report, okay? And then the second thing is going to be content. So I'm going to be asking maybe if you need more specific detail or push you towards a specific question that you're trying to answer, especially your problem question, and then maybe how you're going about either solving it, and then also perhaps depending on how you addressed it in your project plan memo, whether or not you addressed like what kind of report you're doing, right? So we got 3 kinds, recall, right? So you've got the your proposal, or you're actually proposing perhaps a solution. You have an empirical research report, and then finally you got the feasibility. So if there is something specific that maybe you're talking about or thinking about, let's say proposing whether or not something is actually feasible to be done, that would be a little bit different than if you're actually proposing something that is already perhaps potentially feasible. So you'll want to kind of maybe think about those as you're moving forward. Okay, all right, so I'll finally wrap this up. Wish you all a most wonderful week. I'm working on stuff as fast as possible, but please email if you have any questions or you need anything. If I've overlooked anything, do not hesitate to send me an email. All right, because I want to make sure they get everybody be caught up this week, grade-wise, et cetera, because we want to just, hopefully by the end of this week, you guys are working on your 2 component reports, everything else is done and graded, and then all we have to do is focus on that for the rest of the semester, and then our the final, I think there's a reflective essay or something like that at the end here. So we'll talk more about that later, okay? Try to be back with you later this week. We'll talk about blog number 7. I'll probably be back with you on Wednesday about that. Fair enough? All right. Have a most wonderful week. Thank you for watching. Bye.